know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And then that's how you become a better engineer. And then over time, after around 2 or 3 industries, I'll engage in 2 industries anyway, but I mean, you might build up an idea of where you can actually like open a business. You know what I mean? Because only you can see what you've seen during your experience, man. Like for instance, you work on submarines and you realize, nah, there's a problem with keeping the let's say for instance, the hull, you know, I don't know if you still call it a hull in a submarine.
Yeah.
Yeah. For instance, the material there is not proper, and now maybe you find a way to kind of, you know what I mean, find another
Yeah, no,
material. You open
100%.
one company based on that, and you make you make millions of rands. That's how it works in this game. You want to get to that particular point. I know the like
Even
what
like
like
doing the propulsion shafts, bro. Like, oh, if
yeah,
I could start a company to do the propulsion shafts
we
on
can
the
talk there.
boats,
We can talk
money, bro.
there. We can talk there. I can show you some guidance on the design aspect of it. It's actually in Strength Materials N6 as well. Maybe we can talk on WhatsApp. And I can show
Okay,
you,
sweet.
but that is just the like the mechanical aspect of the shafting, man. There's a chapter we're gonna start in torsion now, but anyway. And then but then obviously there's other factors which I'll mention. But I mean I can show you like the basic design of what you must look at a shaft as, man. But anyway, you'll talk. Right, can we begin?
Interesting.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So guys, we're doing temperature stresses, module 3. Um, your marks will be released tomorrow. And I just want to do a quick overview on what this chapter is about. And then we're going to begin with the actual, solving of the problems. It's actually very nice to hear what everyone does. Let me just open my slide quickly. Can you guys see this slide over here? So the lectures are done. Can you guys see it? I go full screen here.
Yes, sir.
Sure, thank you. So okay, so what we've discussed, can I zoom it in a bit? Yeah, so I've mentioned you before, we looked at a bit of tension, we looked at a bit of compression, and there are 3 other fundamental mechanical loads, which is torsion, which is covered in chapter 7. We also looked at a bit of shear, not too much in depth, but I believe you understand the concept roughly. Then also bending, which is module 5. So these are the main 5 mechanical loads, right? And these loads, like I said to you, are inherent in all mechanical type structures. And we basically design according to these loads. However, there are other loads, right? I'll give you some examples. We all know what a pipe is. We've all seen some pressure piping before, or process piping, pumping, you know what I mean, oil or whatever, or some, you know what I mean? The fluid itself exerts pressure within the pipe holes. Or are we familiar with that? That's another load. Are we all familiar with that? Okay. Yeah. Another type of load would be vibration, right? Vibrational. It's a factor of designing as well. And then the one in question today is temperature loading. So what I'm trying to say is that temperature itself produces a load, therefore produces a change in length, therefore produces a stress. Are we all on the same page, colleagues? Are we there? Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Will you, boss?
Yeah,
Will you,
thank you.
boss?
Cool. So just some formal definitions. It says a thermal stress may be considered to be stress which is developed as a result of a non-uniform temperature with distribution within a body or element. I'll give you some examples. It's parts of engines. Nangamso is part of a team where they actually cast out engine blocks, and it's a factor, temperature. There's furnaces, metal cutting processes. Chad can talk to maybe that as well. Rolling molds, plastic molding. I don't know, it's in plastic. Air compressors as well, hydraulic and pneumatic devices. Some other aspects within maybe the maritime space is temperature gradients within the hull. That's a factor we must look at. Deflections in the hull girded due to thermal expansion, right? Remember, you're on a ship, you're traveling, right? There's different fluctuations of temperature. Gets too cold, steel contracts. In fact, if the steel is not designed right, the steel can become brittle. There's some more examples, thermal stresses in the hull. We're talking about them now briefly, like on the submarine. But what is important to note, what's going on here is that it says, as a metal is heated, it typically tends to expand. Sometimes we cannot see it by the eye, but it for sure expands, right? And that depends on the factor. And so if this expansion is not restricted, the dimensions will grow, right? But no stress is developed. So the stress is only occurs if, for instance, it's housed between two restrictions, and which typically is the case. Let's say maybe we have two bearings in a shaft, and as it heats up, the shaft will start to expand a bit, right? So that's a very important concept to understand, that that's how the stress are induced. This person in when it's restricted, essentially. But if it's free to expand, remember, it's not blocked. I'll start to show you an example. I'll get to the N6 stuff shortly, but just just to show you, each temperature, just like I mentioned, each temperature type of steel in terms of grades or ferrous or non-ferrous, it has in unique properties. One of the properties is called the temperature coefficients of material, which is very important. And what they say there's different materials change dimensions at different rates when subjected to temperature changes, right? And that thing is called a temperature, or metric is called temperature coefficient of expansion. And as you can see here, there are a few different ones. So in terms of degrees Celsius, power 1 or per degree Celsius, you'll notice your structural steel will be around 11.7 times 10 to negative 6. Steel's around 12 typically. Your stainless steel, depending on what the grade, it was a 301. It's a 301. I'm not sure. I don't think it's a 304. Maybe it is around 16.9. Your aluminum alloys obviously has a greater expansion. I don't know if anyone can corroborate with that. Magnesium will expand faster. Even concrete itself, you look at the bottom, has a coefficient of expansion. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a material property as well, and we account for it depending on what type of context we're looking at in terms of design. Okay, that's one thing. So I hope everyone got that, right? And then there's some more, and just an example of this coefficient of expansion. Can you see there's two materials there? There's one metal and there's one ceramic. Do you notice that, assuming you apply the same heat, and we increase the temperature, can we see that the metal extends a bit faster than the ceramic? Can we see that? Guys can say yes, sorry about that. Close the door. Yeah, so that's basically the gist of the system. There are a lot of other applications where temperature is a big factor in terms of the design. Is everyone clear on the overall concept of what this is about? You can say yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I can't sometimes see. Okay, so going back to temperature stresses, the module. Again, I just overviewed what all of this is about, and just start to highlight the importance of this. Again, it's a table, different materials typically given. So to compute or calculate the change in temperature, right? The extension or elongation, whatever you want to call it. The formula is quite simple. It's delta L, which is the change in length, is equal to the length of the element or component times that thing called the coefficient of linear expansion times the change in temperature. Okay, so this is an example, right? I'm just going to talk to. So let's say you have a steel rod, length is 400 mil, and the initial temperature is 20 degrees, right? What happens is we put it into some kind of furnace or some environment. It's such a nuclear reactor. And obviously that's not even at that level, but you know what I mean. It increases to 300 degrees. We have a change of 280 degrees. And then we times that by the length, that coefficient given, and then 280. And then we'll notice a 1.344 times 10 to negative 3 meter. So that's like 1.3 millimeters increase. So therefore, our total length will be 400. So can we see it's not small. However, the temperatures become too big. you notice that obviously it will increase. You know what I'm trying to say to you. But what's important to note here, this is only a linear increase. You do get materials who increases exponentially, just by the way. But you all understand the concept, and can we all see this formula over here, right? Is it easy to remember? Inga, Chad, Anita,
Yes, sir.
100%. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
this is all the easy stuff. And then when you're doing for a decrease case, we cooling copper rod gets cold from -25, it cools down to -30. There's a temperature difference of 55, obviously. And then we find out that length, basically, that 300 will reduce by this 0.2805. So it decreases by that much. So I don't know what the total, they don't ask for the total length after cooling. But the point is, just again, you're looking at the change in temperature, right? So obviously from 25 to -30, there's a difference of 55 degrees, right? So that's the basic idea here. Now, moving along. This is a cool application. I'm not going to do this one. If you want to do it, you can do it, but I don't recommend it. They don't ask you stuff. But this is, I'm not seeing this device, but apparently it's in a fire detector, right? So you have a copper rod over here. Heat will come from the fire, obviously. You've got a copper rod over there, you see. Obviously, you don't have to use copper. You can use any other material, but obviously copper is readily available. You could use titanium, something with a better expansion, but I guess copper is also cheap and is a good coefficient of expansion. As it heats up, they'll take this lever over here and connect it over here, right? Obviously, this will form a circuit, and then the alarm will come. Is it clear to everyone as one example of what's happening here?
So the change in length
Yes.
is going to touch at 2 points there and complete
Exactly.
the circuit, and then, yeah.
Does it make sense? Obviously, it's designed in a way that there must be a certain amount of heat. Does it make sense what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, hundreds.
If it's too low, it's not gonna connect, so it won't detect anything. Interesting, eh?
That's quite interesting.
Yeah, so it's you know, a lot of these things, yeah, you just need a good lecturer and someone with good experience. A lot of the things is all over, like these temperature designs. It's just that we don't see them in thermostats and things like that. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is to get into the concept of series and parallel. So luckily for you, if you've mastered, and I know a lot of you guys have not mastered series and parallel, and I'm a bit concerned, it's kind of the same a bit, and you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a series example. I'm gonna talk to this one, and then I'm gonna do an example which is very, very relevant. Excuse me. Okay, so here we have a copper bar and a steel bar. It's joined, right? And then what happens is it's not restricted, so therefore there's no stress. And they're asking you calculate the total change in length. We have two different materials. We basically make one formula for the steel, one for the copper, same thing. Same temperature difference of 120, different lengths, of course, different coefficient of expansions, and then we find out there's a total of 0.72 millimeters increase. The final length obviously will be the 200 plus the 200 plus the 0.72 we found. And that's a basic idea of what's happening. So that's a series arrangement without restriction. So remember, only when it's restricted, we're going to get stressed. So let me explain to you now. So imagine we had two bars like this, one material, one another material. And can you see it's restricted on either end? And let's say we apply heat, right? And as we apply heat, there will be a change in length, right? Due to the thermal expansion, which is this part over here. No? So that will change by the alpha delta T, 1 and number 2. But then as this expands, right? It's gonna obviously be blocked over here, and then there will be some kind of elongation. But I want to ask you, what stress is induced in number 1 and number 2? Assuming what I said now. It's fixed and we heat it up. So the two bars are pushing, right? What's gonna happen? Talk to me. I wonder if I can write here. Amen. Okay. what's going to happen?
Oh, it's going to compress.
That's going to compress, exactly. Can everyone understand that? People talk, please, man, or you're not present. So this is going to expand. Okay, let me just clear here. Use another line color. And by the way, I'm using a graphics tablet on this book. It's an ebook, the same one. I recommend you get it. That pushes this way. It's expanding. However, it's restricted, right? So that's restricted. And obviously, if you look what's happening over here, that you're going to have some compression within the bar, and that's what's going to happen. Okay. Now, what's important for the temperature part, not the mechanical part, which I'll talk to. The formula in question, you notice in the formula sheet, is that the force is the same. Reason being, the force is actually induced due to the restriction. The force are equal to each other. And on the one side, it's equal to change in length plus the thermal expansion. This is the mechanical expansion due to obviously the so the force is the same. That's one thing. Then the change in length. So it's change in length 1. This is the thermal side, and this is the mechanical or due to compression side. We equate them, we move them around, and long story short, what we end up with. Let me just move my thing over here. Okay, just yeah. Okay, yeah. We end up with this formula over here. My thing doesn't want to move now. Okay, just put that in. Okay, bye, Mr. Pen. Yeah. How do I? Yeah, okay. And then what you're going to end up with is this formula here, right? So this is the case where it's restricted and there's an increase in temperature. So I'll show you what our question. So again, the force is the same in a temperature setting. The change in length, that's the thermal side, and this is the mechanical side, the FLEA. And long story short, typically when I find the forces, we can find the stresses. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do this example, and then we will obviously, excuse me, yeah, and then we can we can see this formulas at play. Okay, so let me just screenshot this one. So again, it's again series and parallel, right? But I'll talk to it. So get your pens ready, so we can begin solving this one. And then just want to share now. Okay. Where is it? This one up here. Okay, cool. All right. Let's begin. So, same thing, 2 different materials. It's fixed. And going from first principles, it gets heated up, right? We apply some heat. Increases, the change in temperature is by 30 degrees, right? Just be careful. Sometimes they'll tell you it increases to 120, so you must say 120 minus 30, for example. What we tend to find is that this is going to want to push this way, right? And that's going to go that way. And then what you're going to have here is the resistance from that side. And obviously, you'll notice this compression induced in these bars. And the asking is, what is the stress developed in the bar, right? So what I'll just do for you now, I'll just copy that formula so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So this formula is given to you. And remember, this is only for a series arrangement. I want to be clear, right? It's nearly the same as the other one, but I mean, just be cognizant of the fact. Okay. So that's our formula over there. All right, so let's quickly begin. So the first thing we do, like I mentioned to you, we have change in length. 1 plus change in length 2. This is the thermal side, right? That's due to the thermal expansion. And then here we get the x1 plus x2, and that's the mechanical side. And that is where that compression comes in. So remember, this only exists, right? Because it's been restricted. If there's no restrictions, there will be no stress. It's restricted. Okay, therefore, stress. Okay, talks about life, just shows you, do you feel like you can't move? That's where the stress actually comes in. Nevertheless, so let's quickly compute, and I want you guys to do it with me. The change in length of one, which is brass. So one we call brass, and two we're gonna call what? Steel. So I want you guys to calculate for me this side first. We'll come to this side now. I'll talk about it again. It's quite simple. We just use that formula. So it's for brass, different, check your thing. It's going to be 18 times 10 to negative 6. And then it's obviously times the length, right? The length of that component is 80 mil. So you can use 80 times 10 to the power negative 3 or 0.08. You times it by the change in temperature, which is going to be 30 degrees, right? And then you add, I'm going to keep it down this line. It's going to be now, what is it? 12, right? And then this is what? That length is 50. And that's 30 over here. So Nagamso, can you please calculate the left-hand side for me before we move on to the right side? Is everyone following so far? Kodani, Vincent? And now? Yeah, thanks, Anita. So please calculate the side for me. I'll remind you again, colleagues, this is not a plug-and-play subject. It requires some complex engineering thinking and a love for physical systems. And let's quickly calculate the change in length by the thermal expansion. I'm just looking for a value there. Not sure what that value is. Portrait, what did you get? Should take you a minute or so.
I got 6,12 times 10
Okay.
to the just times 10 to the minus
Can you
5.
can you repeat that? Six what?
0.12.
Point.
6,12 times 6 times 10 to the 5 minus 5.
That's right. Can anyone corroborate Chad's answer?
Yes, that's right, sir.
Thank you very much. Believe that's Mangamso. Okay. So on this side, right, we just go to our old flea, right? And I'm taking the force as a common factor, LAE, right? Remember, that's what change in length equals to. So that's going to be of the steel plus LAE of the brass. Now remember, the reason why we can do this for the thermal part of this thing now, it's a thermal case, F1, F2 is equal to each other. And that's on the virtue that's restricted that the same force is being traversed through this element. And so therefore we can take F. So F will be exactly the same in this case, right? Series. Right. So I'm taking F here, it's a common factor. And I want you guys to calculate for me now this part over here. So obviously, maybe you want to find the area of area 1. Area 1 is going to be pi over 4 times 0.08 squared. You can get that answer for yourself. Area number 2 is going to be what? That's a 50 mil bar times 0.05 squared. Chad was talking about propeller shaft. I think in a, again, even this could arguably be a propeller shaft. And then we can find the temperature stresses. However, you might find the temperature stresses might be negligible when you compare to all the other mechanical loadings, as an example. But it obviously depends on the context of where that's going to be situated as well. So I hope that's clear to everyone, right? So you're going to just calculate this part over here, which is the length of the brass length divided by area E and then L by E. So now are you following? Doesn't seem like it. Kodani, are you there?
Sir,
Yes,
on
Kodani.
the thermal side,
On the yeah.
we use L1, we use the diameter.
No, it's only the length. There's no diameter.
It's not 100.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Chad, no, man. The length is 100 more, yeah, right? Thank you, Kodani. I appreciate it. And this one is 140, right? Yeah. So what is my expansion? Thank you very much.
Oh, using ODS.
Yeah. Must come revoked. They must come revoked by qualification.
Yeah, very sloppy.
Very sloppy. Just get that thermal side. Thanks, Kodani. So give me the left-hand side and then give me the right-hand side. Portrait, are you there? I have to mention something again, probably by next week. Okay. Yeah. Right.
The answer I got is 54 times 10 to the 6. Not sure if that's
54. 54.
times 10 to the 6.
Okay, we'll confirm it on the side over here.
Not minus 6, eh?
Minus 5.
No, it's just 6
54 times 10 to the power?
of 6.
It called me 6. You're telling me expanding by that much.
Yeah,
This is
nah,
negative
that's
6,
all right.
negative 6. So this is negative 3 here. Just by the way, remember I'm putting 140 more.
Okay, nah, that must be wrong. Just wait for
That's 0.1. You know what I mean? It could be
Answer that.
54 times 10 to the negative 6 maybe. That's 0.14. Well, let me do it. It's going to take me quick. What's the right-hand side, guys? Guys are taking long, man. Need to move.
The right-hand side is 5.4 times 10 to the minus 5.
Like that. Clean. 5.4, not the decimals.
But I must add the other side still. Wait.
You
That's
mean
only
this
the
other
one
piece
side.
over here? This over
Yeah.
here. Okay. It's fine,
Yes,
you
sir.
can add him in. Chair the only student here. And Gam thoughts going on. Go run. Let me just verify that left-hand side quickly.
The left-hand side, I got 1,044 times 10 to the power minus 4.
Okay, let me just check that. I'm gonna calculate it now on my calculator, yeah. 0.1 times 30 plus 12. They lied to you when they said engineering makes a lot of money.
Yeah, I think it answers correct.
Let me quickly check.
1,044 times 10 to the 4.
Yeah, I'm just quickly checking. 12, 18 times 0.1, right? Times plus 30 times that times. Yeah, 1 point, yeah, definitely. I'll put it in 104, right? Okay, cool. That's 104. Like that. Obviously, I have it in -5. I think so. Okay, that's definitely correct. So what do I have on the side over here? Or you can just give me the whole right-hand side as well. Let me just remove this. That's the one piece over there. Everyone is quiet today, man. Oh, it's disturbing. Vincent, Inga, what's going on? Guys, what's the right-hand side? It's been over 5 minutes already. Can't we calculate that? In the end, we're going to solve for f, which I'm sure should be easy. All right. You guys are taking too long. Uh, 0.1. My area there was 5.027.
I got 5.555 times 10 to the power of -10.
It's 5.55 times 10 to the power -10, like that. Is that
Yes.
correct? The total, no? Yeah. I'm assuming it's a total of that. So then obviously we're just going to have to divide now 104 by -6. I'm getting the force now. Nangamso says 5.55. Obviously just confirm our answer. -10 you said, no? Yeah, okay. So I believe
Yes, sir.
our answer's correct. And your F should be 188.12. I'll give you guys a minute to just confirm this answer.
Yeah,
The books
answer's right.
Yeah, thank you. The book's around 187, but it's still all right. 187.955, still 188. Could we all get that force, colleagues?
Yes, sir.
That was Kurani, perfect. Okay, let's move on. So remember, we talk about strength of materials here. We're not in mechanics. We need to find stresses now. Use the same relationship. Stress of steel will be the same force divided by the area of steel, and the stress of brass will be the force divided by the area of brass. Okay, so I'm gonna write one down and you can just confirm. So this one should be around 37.393 megapascals. And of course, we're gonna put up here compression. So I want you to make a block and a C like that. Very important. It's gonna be roughly might be slightly less, but around 37. And then just check for me steel. Just confirm both of me. Okay, what's next? This one here. Okay, can I have my stress of the other one?
Is that for steel?
Yes, Chief.
I got 95.7 MPa.
95.7. That's fine. Give me more decimals, Chief.
0.733.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. And again, that's compressed, right? You guys agree? Yeah. We put this to bed. Are you all happy with this? Any questions, colleagues? That's open.
So how do we determine if it's tensile or compressive?
So can you see this case over here? Do you see what I explained to you? Of it expanding and the walls are resisting, therefore it's going to compress the ball.
Okay.
That's how. However, what happens if it compresses? Can you tell me? So what happens if it contracts? Sorry.
It's
What's going to
gonna
happen?
be pulling in.
Yeah. What happens if it's going to cool? So let's assume it's going to cool in this case. What's going to happen?
It's gonna, the length is gonna grow back, I think.
What stress will be induced? Tensile or compressive?
It's gonna be tensile.
Exactly. It'll be the opposite, right? So all
Okay.
these arrows will change in other directions. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, now it makes sense.
Perfect, Onania. So just be aware. But you understand why I'm putting the sense there. Is there any other questions before I close this one off? Anyone at all? Because after this, we go into module 4. In obviously in the next session. No other questions? Yeah.
I'm all good. I have to go
Yes.
through this stuff.
Okay. No, for sure. Just absorb as I go along. Obviously, you must sit down and put the extra 4 hours in, which is the prescription. Okay. So this is series, guys. This happens sometimes in the question papers, but the main one is the next one, and that's going to be a parallel. Okay. Okay. So parallel is the more common one. Make sure you do know both. For your up-and-coming test, I recommend looking at parallel. I'll say that once. And then let me explain to you what's happening with parallel now. Okay. So parallel, let me find an example here. Trotsky. Trotsky. So I think, yeah, let me just go to what's happening with parallel setting. And then I want to talk to you how these problems are articulated. So I'm going to first explain parallel, then I'm explaining to you the main way you must look at the stuff. Yeah. Okay, so here's a case of parallel. All right, I'll just put Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Can you?
Oh, I just went away for a bit there. No, put me on hold. All right. So what's happening with the parallel story? So I don't want to use this sketch, but I'm gonna paste these formulas and try to use them on another sketch, right? So I believe it could still be adequate, but I believe the sketch is a bit better, the one I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to share with you this, and then I'll show you the whiteboard, and you'll see. Okay, so parallel.
Let me just ask.
Yeah.
Can I ask, in with the series examples, is it usually always restricted or
Always.
also not?
Always. Otherwise, it's no stress. But I might check your understanding. You know what I mean, to mess with you.
Okay,
Typically,
sweet.
yeah. Typically,
Cool.
it's a simple thing. So they might test you to see if you understand if it's not restricted or there be a stress or not. Because they ask you if it's unrestricted, right? And then they say, find the stress. You just put there stress equals 0. You know what I'm trying to say? Because there's no stress induced. I'm just giving you as an example. But I know typically they want to put it to make it more meaty, the question itself. But this over here is the bulk of the questions I've seen in the past papers. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to solve 2025's question, the March exam, to just show you how, and I'll show you the other questions. This is the most common question I've seen in the past paper. So we're showing how to do this. All right, so we have two different materials. Again, material 1, material 2, all right? Obviously, one is certain to the other one, parallel arrangement, standard stuff. So if we have free expansion or unrestricted, assuming that your first material's coefficient of expansion, alpha 1, is greater than alpha 2, in this case, right? Just be aware of this. You agree with me that if it's unrestricted, that this would expand a lot faster and it will be more longer than the previous one. You guys agree with that? So this was copper and that was steel. You find this was copper in the middle and steel over here. You find that the copper will extend much more than the steel. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Again, Chad, is there any stress if we allow it to expand freely or unrestricted? Is there any stress induced?
No, sir.
Exactly, right? So typically, what happens now? We put a liquor restriction over here. So it's actually a restriction over here, which is not actually showing. Okay. Just give me a second. So that's restricted. Now, if we have the same setup and we restrict it, right? And we allow it to expand as before, we have a similar setup to the previous thing. But now, let's try to understand the stresses here. So if this is expanding, right, we know that that's going to do that and that's going to do that. That's the same as before, right? Kodan, you agree with me that this will be compressed over here? Element number 1. That's compression. You agree with me? Assuming
Yes,
the
sir.
hole is there. Yeah. However, because of the rate, what do you think is going to happen at the second element? The one which goes a bit slower. What is the stress there? What do you think? What do you think?
As in, what is the stress there?
Yeah, the sense
the
of the stress.
question?
Tensile compressor. That's what I'm asking. So imagine we have two bars just like that, right? And there's a restriction. Well, let's put it here rather. I'm going to extend this line for you so you can see. The restriction is here. Yeah. Right? Just here. Same restriction. And now it extends to this. So we're going from this case 1, and we're ending up on case 2 over here. So what do you think is going to happen? What's happening to number 2? So you agree with me that the one in the middle will reach the wall first, right?
I agree with you.
Yeah. So if that's going to be compressed, that's going to keep that there. Don't you think stress element number 2 will be in tension in this case? Because now it will reach it a bit afterwards. So it's basically like it's expanding freely, arguably, but it's not. So what you actually find is this in the second element, it's actually in tension, whereas this one is in compression. I don't know if you guys are with me. Maybe I should read the text, maybe.
But also, does it matter of the tolerance in between the two metals? Is the
It does
pressure
matter.
together,
It does
or is
matter.
it far apart, or what?
It does matter. It does matter. But in this case, there is no tolerance. You're asking a very, very important question.
Okay, cool. Because
It does
otherwise
matter.
it will kind of pull it towards.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
understand what I'm saying, yeah.
Nah, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. You're right. You're
Okay,
definitely
cool.
right. But in this case, what I want you to think about, but long story short, what you're going to tend to find with a parallel arrangement, just to make it easy for you, that the one with the higher coefficient of expansion will compress first, whereas the one with the lower coefficient of linear expansion will be in tension. So one is compression, one is tension. That's the concept I want you to understand. So what I'm trying to say to you, remember it's still the same force induced. So we still have exactly the same relationship. This is for the parallel side, where F1 is equal to F2, exactly the same case, but the difference is now changing length 1 is positive. In our case, it's actually negative. It's just this is swapped around. So this is actually swapped around. The question is a bit different. So what you find, I should actually let me just put it like this. That this one must be positive, number 2 must be positive, and number 1 must be negative because this is being compressed. That's why negative, and that must be positive. But typically, we put it up where the high expansion is always on that side, so that's why it looks like this, and then that's going to equal to the mechanical side. So there's still a thermal side and a mechanical side, and we basically find the same F. So that the formula for series, like this, looks like that. But now the difference is we're going to have now a subtraction element happening here. This calculation is basically for another sketch, man. So that is why it's swapped around, basically. But because you're going to find that element 2 is actually positive, anyway, you will see what I mean. So this must be positive, this is negative. It must be swapped around. But anyway, so this is the formula which you'll be using for parallel. But you'll see once I solve it, man, it'll make sense. I'll show you now. So I hope you all get the senses, right? The stress and the stress 1 and stress 2 being compressive and tensile. Are we all clear on that? That's the first thing. Can I get a yes? If not, please tell me. That's the main thing.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
But there's also no stress in the parallel zone.
Nah, there is stress. Remember, there is a stress in this case because it gets to the wall, so therefore it's restricted. This case, just by the way, for that formula, the reason why that one was in our case number 2 extended faster than number 1 in the previous example. So that is why they have it in that particular way. Just by the way, don't get confused. You'll see as I solve the problem, it makes sense. But they are both restricted and they both will experience. But the text explains nicely here what goes on. But I want to come to another important concept, which is of utmost importance. And it's the following. So what I'm going to do, I'm pasting the question of 2025. I have questions set up obviously there in the what is this in the previous sessions, so you can actually have a look at that. But I want to show you this one. I want us to do this one. Just give me a second. Just bear with me. It'll all make sense now. I want to share. I want to share. Okay, so I'm sharing the whiteboard again. Okay, so now for the parallel questions, this is very important to understand here. And what's happening here is same setup. You got a parallel thing, right? So we have a bar and some other copper strip, right? So I just want to sketch this. Then give us the cross sections already, so that's fine. Okay, sketch this nicely here. It's one, maybe another one over here. This is the most trickiest section in the module, I believe. Okay, so they give you a steel strip, right? So that's steel over here. I'm gonna call it steel. Oh, okay. In the bottom we have copper. Okay. What's not mentioned here, it's supposed to be restricted, which makes it a bit strange, eh? So it should mention that it's restricted, but I don't know why they don't do that. It's probably a problem with the wording, right? So we assume restricted because it probably is. Otherwise, it's not going to make sense. But now I want to bring to you the two following ideas. So the first part of the question, right? They'll say determine the magnitude and nature of stress, whether it's tensile compressive in the steel and copper due to the temperature change. So what I'm saying in the first 3.1, we only look at the temperature. Is it clear, colleagues? So the analysis I talked about just now is what we're going to perform. Are we on the same page there? Just follow me, right? Okay, so we're going to solve that at 3.2. Now, they say there's an external load applied to the system and it's a tensile load of 80 kilonewtons. So this one is the mechanical part. And here we have to use our F total equals F1 plus F2. And here we're going to have to say change in length total is equal to change in length 1 equal. Do you guys remember this from the previous module?
Yes,
Are you
sir.
with me? So
Yes,
the first case is so the first case is temperature. The second case is mechanical. And then 3.3, we got to add now the stresses in the steel and add the stresses in the copper to get the so-called resultant stress. So I hope you guys are following me. So what we're first going to do is calculate the stresses induced by temperature. 3.2, we're going to use our module 2 stuff to find the stresses now due to the 80 kilonewton load. In 3.3, we're going to add or subtract, depending on the sensors, the resultant stress. Is that clear? This is the algorithm to solve these problems. Is everyone on the same page of the concept of what I'm trying to, you know what I mean, to solve this problem? You'll notice it's exactly the same all the time. If you're unsure, please ask. Is there any questions at all?
Can you just repeat that again, please, sir?
Okay, that's fine. So can we see at 3.1, they're only asking us to calculate the stress and nature of stress, right, due to the change in temperature. You got that, no? You got that, Chad?
Yes.
So what I'm saying is we conduct this analysis over here. You see what I'm saying to you? It's only due to temperature, right? The thermal part. Okay? That's like due to the temperature change, right? Then at 3.2, they say there's external load of 80 kilonewtons applied. Right? Now we're going to do module 2 stuff now. You see there, where F total equals F1 plus F2. You know this kind of stuff. We've got to find a ratio. You know what I mean? And then plug it back into here. You guys remember the test? And then we have to find the stresses here. You got that?
Okay, okay, cool.
And then 3.3, if Nangamso, Inga, and Kodan is following, we're going to add the stresses in 3.1 and 3.2 to give us the resultant stress at 3.3. You guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's do this one first. So this is now basically it's always roughly always the same. But you must just always be careful. And again, they should have mentioned it's restricted here. I do not know why, but for sure it is, man. It's obvious. Otherwise, it'd just be a complete waste of time. So I'm just gonna move this one for you here. Bottom. Okay. So again, here you have change in length 1 plus change in length 2. But obviously it's subtracted in all of that, and you have x1 plus x2. Okay, it's the same as before. And the reason why it's negative is because one is negative and one is positive, is because what you find, number one, one is going to be in tension and one is going to be in compression. So they typically just make it easy for you. They're basically telling you that you always put the one of the higher coefficient of expansion first. The reason why there's no length in this part of the formula because it's parallel and the lengths are the same. And then we're left with F L over AE steel plus L over AE, what's it again? Copper. And obviously I should mention that this is obviously steel and so number 2 will be the one with the higher coefficient of expansion. In this case, it's going to be brass, right? And it's going to be steel. So what I'm just saying to you that they kind of make it easy for you in a way that you always going to put the one with the higher coefficient of expansion on this side. But they're all mathematically correct ways to all make everything work out. It's just that, N5 material, it's always so easy. They try to make it easy anyway. So in this case, we've got our two expansions. One is 18, -6. One is -12. Again, the reason why one is going to be positive because one's in tension and this one is in compression. The steel being compression. Yeah, anyway, yeah, never mind. Give it out now. Our change in temperature, if you read the question, you can see it says the compound bar is heated from 40 to 100. Therefore, the change is what? 60. Do you guys agree? You guys got that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got that.
100%. Yeah. So the length is the same. You can actually take out the length here as well. Why not? But you will keep the length here. We have to find. So that's 0.8. Our E for steel is 200. You guys can, the area is given. That's nice. So that's going to be, for steel, is going to be around 400. That's 400 times 10 to -6. I told you that last time, if you remember. And then our copper at 0.8. Our modulus is given here as 100. And we times this by, it's in meters squared already, so 0.0005. 305, right? Okay, just wanna clear this up here. And what I want you guys to do for me now is just calculate what F is. And from F, we will obviously determine the stresses in each one, plus these sensors. So again, the way the formula is set up, you just put the higher one there and the low one there. It's not just, the reason why is because one is being compressed, one is being extended, and one is being compressed. All right? And then the second part is the change in temperature, which is going to be 60, right? And that's because it's 40 minus 100. And obviously all these parameters are straightforward from there. And then we have to calculate F now. So can we quickly compute F? And this is your April 2025 exam. Yeah, the latest one. This is easy to explain, but I just want to keep it with in line with the textbook, so I don't create any confusion. And you'll see in the exercises are posted there, or from the past papers. You'll figure it out fairly quickly if you just understand what's going on. Just getting the memo here so long so we can be sure. Yeah. Just tell me what that F is. So again, colleagues, we are just computing the stresses only due to the change in temperature. That's the first part. I'll give you guys 3 minutes, man. Don't take it that long.
I'm getting 31.83 kilonewtons.
I don't think that's correct, according to the stuff that I'm seeing in front of me. Or is that
Yeah.
there?
Let me
This-
double check.
Yeah. I have the answers in front of me, so. You said 31, huh?
Yes.
Let's check the other question. I have the answers here, so that is why.
Yeah, I also got that
Okay. Maybe the memo's wrong, eh?
1, 2, 3,
I got
31,03 kilonewton.
I'll check. So I'm dividing the 18,
I got 14 kilometers.
14. Oh, come on, guys. How are we getting different stuff here? I'll check it.
Okay. Can we zoom into the second area? That's 0.005. How
Yeah,
did you put
at 0.0005 meters squared. It's given.
so it's two zeros or it's 3 zeros?
Three.
'Cause
Oh,
3 zeros.
it's three.
Three.
It's 3 zeros.
Oh, sorry, man. I have only 2 there, no? Yeah. Don't trust me, please.
Oh,
I'm just- I'm-
okay. Okay.
Okay, so I'm just calculating I'm calculating now my calculator. That's 200. Guys, that's a 206, that's 200, eh? Let's just be careful my writing there.
with 3 zeros, I'm getting a 14 also.
Okay, I'm gonna check now. 200 times, what is it, area of the first one? 400 now. -6. And then I must add plus 0.8. That is 100, right? Times 10 to the power 9. Times 3 zeros, right? 1, 2, 3, 5, close the bracket. And I'm getting a different answer, eh? I'm getting 13.846.
Is that the right one? Because now with
I'm pretty sure mine is right, but it's not according to the memo. But it should be 13.84.
is the memo
I
22?
also got that one.
Yeah, it's 13. The memo has 11. The memo is wrong. I can see it. Mine is right. But remember, we're dividing this by F. You understand? That's 18 times 10 -6 minus 12, 60 divided by all of this here. You got me? Colleagues, are we all there? Who got my 13.8?
Yes, sir.
Who's that?
I got 13.846, yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, no, that's okay. Kilonewton, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Guys, remember this is 200 here. Bear with my writing here, man. You know, it's on the graphics tablet. Can we all get this? So definitely the memo's wrong. Yeah, I'm looking at the memo now. It's definitely wrong. Oh, flip. I realize our mistake. Guys, there's a problem. There is a problem. Can I tell you the problem? Colleagues, do you hear the problem?
What is the problem?
It's not
The problem
the
is
length. The
length. It's 1 over.
It's
Yeah, it's 1 over.
because it's common.
Yeah, but the length gets divided out. My bad, my bad. Yeah. So in this case, there is no length in the formula. It's just a 1. Yeah. Forgive me, forgive me. I forgot to mention that the length gets to, yeah, I didn't mention, yeah, I didn't put it over here. So just quickly just fix that. So my formulas are set up here in my calculator. So I think we should get the 11. Now, Gamsa, please just check for me. We all understand why there's no length in the formula. Must I explain it to you? Yeah, it should be 11. There we go. I was so confident I was right. Jesus, dangerous. 11.76. Yeah, there we go. Just to remind you again, the lengths are normally there, but because it's a parallel arrangement and the lengths are the same, we simply just divide it all out here, and that's why just 1 over. Yeah. Just by the way.
You said the answer is what? It's 11.076 kilonewtons.
Yeah. Got it now?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Can we all confirm that you've got it before I move on?
Yes, got it.
Perfect. So now let's quickly calculate the stresses. Remember the forces are the same. So it's F divided by A1, which is going to be 11.076. I keep on saying 1, but you know, this is going to be, what is our 1? Let's say this is steel, kilonewton, and steel's area was what? 400, right? Am I right? -6. That is my steel. Let's get the steel's answer. I'll just move this one to the bottom. Yeah. That's going to be it. And our brass or our copper, sorry, will be 11.076 times 10 power 3. And that's going to be the 0.0005. And it'll be all MPa.
The first one is 27.26.69.
Yeah. Okay. And then the copper.
22.152.
22.152, no? Now, colleagues, what are my sensors? So what is extending faster in this case? What is the high coefficient of expansion?
The highest one is the copper.
Copper. So the copper will heat here first. In that case, then the copper becomes compressed. So therefore, copper is compression. This is very important to remember, colleagues. Very, very important. This one is compression, and obviously we've agreed that the other one is what? Tensile. Am I right? Are we all happy with this? That's how it basically works.
Explain to me again why the steel is tense now. Because the copper is reaching there first and basically pulling it along.
That is correct.
Or what?
Yes. That is correct. Yes. That's correct. Yeah. That
Okay,
is
cool.
if I read the text from you, that's okay. Yeah, like they will say, because the two bars in equilibrium, the force acting on each is the same. The tensile force that material 1 with a higher coefficient of expansion puts on material 2 is equal to the compressive force that material puts on material 1. But that's the idea, it's pulling it along. They do also state, yeah, that's basically it, yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Time is going here. So it's 3.2. So guys, now remember, the same setup now is, but Chad, I'd like you to yeah, anyway. So now with the same setup, now we're applying a tensile load onto the setup here, okay? So now 3.2, we have to use our F total equals F of steel. You guys agree with me? Plus F of copper, am I right? And the total change in length is equal to what? Steel and equals copper. Are we happy with this? This is now the
Yes, sir.
mechanical part. Yeah. You guys remember what is the first step you want to do here? We equate, am I right? Like this. You guys remember this? You guys remember this?
Yes.
Yeah, so F steel, L over EA equals F copper. Yeah, you know the game. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, the lengths will divide out. And then I want you to give me a ratio between F of S to F of C. So you guys can quickly get that for me. But can you understand that the first part was temperature? And now we're doing the mechanical part. Is this clear to everyone? This is what I want to bring across. Yeah. That's the main thing. So can I get a ratio between force and steel? Either or, on either side. You guys can tell me. Yeah. Oh. Time is catching up. Do I have this scan copy? Okay. 'So what is my ratio, colleagues?
The ratio is 12.5 times 10 to the power.
No, man. There's no 10 to the power. It must be a complete ratio.
Okay.
It's E and A and E and A. It's supposed to be some 1 point something or 0 point. It's not like a
1.6.
to what? Which one? 1.6 on what side? On this side here. Like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are we all happy with that? I don't think it's 1.6. And the reason why I say so, let me just check over. Oh no, it can be. Okay.
We're taking the
1.6.
lens out.
Yeah, it's the same length. Same length, remember? Parallel. You put the lens in, but you still cancel it out. Do we all get this? Or are we confused with this over here? F of steel 200 area is times 0.0005, and that's equal to F of that, and that's 100 times 10, 9, right? Times 400. We're just manipulating this, guys. I don't see the concern. Am I right? Am I swapping it around? Copper is 0.05.
Yeah. Also get 1.6.
Yeah, it's just 1.6. I can just change over here. It's going to be steel. That's going to be 200. Okay. So once that's done, we do exactly the same. So total force was applied of how much? Of 80 kilonewton, right? So you put the 80 over here. And then we know F steel is obviously going to be FC 1.6 plus FC over here. That's 80 over here. We take out FC as a common factor. We have 1.6 plus 1, and we can easily find the force of copper. All right. From the force of copper, we can easily find the force of steel, but times it by 1.6. Can I get those values? That should be quick. Yes?
30.769 kilonewtons.
So you said again?
30.769 kilonewtons.
Cool. And times that guy by 1.6.
$49.231 kilonewtons.
231. Okay. And then obviously from this, we need the stresses, right? So stress of this one, you just divide by the area again. By each respective area, obviously. We're nearly done, guys. Kodani, remember the promises you made to your mother. You're going to buy a house. Here you are. Let's see. Colleagues, I'm assuming we can find the stresses in copper quite easily, right? We should all know what it is. Could I write the answers for you there? You're going to work it out yourself. 30.769 about 3 divide by 0.0005. I've got my first stress. Value guys is 61.538 megapascals. Guys, happy with that one? Is this a lot? Chad, is this too much?
What did you get there?
Yeah,
but the same.
Okay, then. And for my steel, what did you get?
MPa.
Yeah, it's megapascals. It's an area. What are you talking about? Force over area.
Yeah, I got that.
Stress is not MPa, bro.
It's
Huh?
60.
Stress is not MPa. Yeah, this guy is rusty. And the other one should be 1.3.08. megapascals.
Oh, I see
Scary.
my mistake.
You're scaring me there, chat. Do we all get this?
Nah, I see my
And
mistake.
Gamso
Boom.
portrait, you get it?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Okay. Um. Philip, did you get it? Hey, people are quiet here. Okay, so I'm gonna ask everyone because
Yes, sir. I get it. I see it.
thank you. Because we subjected to a tensile load, what are the sensors of these stresses? What is my sensor of the stresses? Quickly. So we had the temperature, now we put the load. What is the sensors? Anyone? Kurani? You got an idea?
Nah, but lost on that question, bro.
Guys, it's simple, right? You put an external load of 80 kilonewtons, right? You agree with me? You happy with that?
Yes. The
And if we put this in tension, right? What stress do we get? A tensile stress or compressive stress? Tensile.
Tensile stress.
Exactly. There's no tricks here. There's tension here and tension here. They're both being pulled. You understand? Are we happy with that?
Yeah, that is being cool.
I hope so. Now 3.3, the one that is opened. So what we do now? We open up a table and put it up here for you. Steel. Let me do it like this rather. Steel, copper, this is gonna be temperature. That's gonna be at 3.1, 3.2. This is gonna be the load. Okay, just give me a favor. Just give me a second. Let me say 3.2 to remind you. It says now the resultant stress in the copper and steel. Is it clear to everyone? So what is the resultant stress? I just wanna go into Word quickly. What's an option at the table here? Yes?
It's not the total stress.
Yeah, it's basically you understand now. I'll copy this. Just can have a neat table here. Okay, here you go. Technology 3.3. I want to move you. Okay. All right. So over here we have black steel here, right? Okay. It's fine. Here we have the copper. So over here we have 3.1 where we had the temperature, the stress due to temperature, right? 3.2 we had the mechanical load. What can I call it? The tensile load, right? Mechanical load. 3.3 is the resultant. So what we do now, we check what stress was induced in the steel in 3.1. 3.1, what was it? It was 27.69 tensile. You guys agree? You see it there?
Yes.
Can you guys see that? So that's 27. Yeah, 27.6. Okay. It's 27.69, right? Because it's tensile, it's positive, right? It increases the length, right? Are we happy with this?
Yes.
Okay. I move down. We go to the copper. Copper was being compressed, and that's at 22.152, right? That's negative. 22.152. It's negative, but it's being compressed, right? The length is, you know what I mean? We've talked about this. Are we happy with this? Can you see where I'm going?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. 3.2, our steel, mechanical load, it's 123.08. It's tensile, so it's positive. So remember, if they give a compressive load, it will probably be negative. Let me write that a bit neater. Positive 123.08. And on the copper side, it's also positive. It's also tensile load, so that's going to be 61.538. Okay. Are we all happy with that there?
Yes, sir.
So what the resultant stress is, so you can say this one over here. We basically add this two up here, right? That's plus that plus that. So what do we get here? So that's going to be the resultant stress for steel. What do we get? So we're adding this two here.
150.77.
150.77 megapascals. And this two will at 61 minus the 22. So here it's going to be resultant copper. What's that going to be? 61 minus 22. How much?
39.386.
386 megapascals. And it's still positive, right?
Yes.
So that's going to be tensile, and that's going to be tensile. So your answer basically you can have down as your resultant stress in steel is 150.77 megapascals tensile, and your resultant stress in your copper is 39.386 MPa tensile. Obviously, it means plus. If it was negative, it would have been compressive. Welcome to Strength of Materials Instructions in 5, guys. Any questions? Huh? Any questions? We can unpack now.
Can you put into a practical sense how big is the stress?
Yeah. So first of all, do you notice how small the stresses are for the temperature? In comparison to this example, I'll get back to that, what you're saying now. Can you see there? Temperature doesn't bring a lot of stress in. Obviously, unless the temperature gradient or difference is very big, right? Yeah. So the context for stress really, it's basically force, man. So stress area equals force, right? You happy with this? You know that?
Yes.
And you know force equals mg. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So you basically, if you work it the way I write down, you basically can figure out, oh, okay. It's like it's acting as a mass of so much. I don't know if I'm making sense, man.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
what I'm asking.
I know what you're asking. That's why I just made you aware of, like, you know what I mean?
Because you look at the numbers like 10 to the minus 6 and you think it's like massive weight, but
no. The reason why I have a good grasp is because I've done tensile testing. You know what I mean? So I've seen a 20 by 20. I must be careful here. 20 more, yeah, cross section, and I've seen stresses up to ranging from 200 to around 1,500 megapascals. Stand steel is operating from 680. That's a high tensile strength to around, like your normal stuff. Okay, I'm giving you a UTS here, no? So this is around 300 MPa. Like this is for high carbon steel. You do get very high, but it's also in context of the area, man.
Okay, cool.
Like I actually tested stainless steel 304, 316, your martensitic, your duplex. I've tested your normal carbon steel, ST55JR, J2. I think you're familiar with that. I've tested elements, I've tested brass.
I'm actually gonna
Um,
check what the weight would equate to on this, just to.
yeah, but it's also like pressure, wow, like with fluid pressure. What is a lot? You know what I'm trying to say to you? How much bar is, I
Yeah,
think that you can only grasp like once you actually do it. You know what I mean? It's not something even I can teach. It's like something you have to experience yourself. Like how much pressure is in a pipe. You know what I mean? A house pipe, that's a certain amount of bar you must have. In your tire, we're talking about
Yeah.
250 kilopascals. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
That's like
Yeah.
2.5 bar there around.
yeah. So it's one of those. I mean, we pressure tested a vessel. The pressure vessels we bought, I can't remember, man. I can really go back, but it was like, don't know how much bar. I'm just gonna look back at those reports and stuff. But and you can see how the vessel actually expands. So you have a vessel, you pump a lot of water in, and you kind of pump it to a certain pressure, basically. And you can see how it actually, like, the steel actually starts to, like, deform. But then you release the water, it kind of goes back because it's all under the UTS.
Yeah.
The yield. There was a case where they over did the thing, and then the whole vessel was scrapped. It was crazy, man. Yeah, but I mean, but are we all happy with the concept of the temperature part, right? The mechanical part, and then the resultant part.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's just, you'll figure it out as you do more. I scan in a document now from a book, and maybe this will provide a better look at the tensile compressive in the parallel arrangement. And guys, I'm not a genius, eh? It's all about staying long in the game, putting in the hours. And you should be able to do it as well. I think it's just how much you actually want to do this. Yeah, it's one of we should open up an engineering podcast to discuss a few things. Let me just quickly share this thing I want to show you. What I'm just articulating here is can you see the sketch? There's diagrams. Can you see
Yes,
Yes,
the
sir.
first? Yeah, in the first case, it's not expanding, fully expansion, no stress. Here it's fixed. So can you see what's happening over here in terms of it was allowed to freely expand? Can you see that? And in the case where we fix it, but can you see how that grows faster than the other one? This is what I was trying to bring out. I'm not sure if you can see why one would be tensile and one would be compressive. Can you guys see that? So when you add the whole, that's
Yes,
essentially
sir.
being compressed. This is being compressed at that time, but this is only in tension, the one on the outside. If you like this, I can always send it to you. Yeah. Colleagues, are you good?
Yes, it's all good.
Okay.
Just let me ask you, as in
For
one
sure.
will be compressive and one will be tensile only in the temperature,
Yes.
in the case of the
Yes.
temperature, no?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay, cool.
So if you go to the Google Classroom, I put up a few examples here. I solved this one. I put the links to the past papers, but which past paper it is, so you can actually have a look. But can you see? I want you to try this one, and this one is a compressive load, and you'll notice that now it's the same thing: compound shaft, solid steel, copper inside, same story. And then with 2.1, you find the temperature part, and here you find the resultant stress. But can you see there's a compressive load? So at 2.2. Instead of having a tensile, it's compressive. So obviously it's going to be negative now. You know what I'm trying to say to you. You still have to find the result. And this one is a tensile. Yeah, that's just two cases. And I obviously did now the 2025 one. So can you see how the questions are fairly the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a series one. I didn't talk about the junction. I was going to do it over here.
Let's
but
hope
I
they
mean,
keep it that way for our paper. Well,
yeah, I mean,
come on.
if you just do all of this, mostly you should be all right for the most part. But series is not too bad. You can actually just do the distance part as well if you have the toy textbook or even the Wickens one. That's all easy. But most people didn't understand the concept of temperature, the mechanical, and then the resultant. Okay.
All
We're
good.
happy. Yeah, this is the toughest
Thanks for the
module.
class, but
Yeah,
it was a good one. Shows.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, and then the other modules are not too bad though. Well, module 5 can be a bit tricky for some people, but we'll see. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Tomorrow
Okay.
morning you get your results. So yeah, if you're on the lookout, I'll post in the group. Next week we will move on to module 4. And then I might have another session in the same week for module 7. But I'm gonna post this lesson and then another lesson, because in the other lessons I did solve this problem and I solved this problem. So then what you can do is solve the problem and watch the lesson afterwards just to consolidate. You know what I mean? To see if you understand. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, but remember, guys, whatever hours I put in here, put in 4 hours. I know you have a lot of other subjects, but strength of materials, it demands a lot, you know. However, it's probably one of the most useful subjects, depending where you want to go. Okay. I'll call it here. I'll stop the recording, and then yeah, you guys are free to leave.
Cheers.
Yeah, if you guys want to engage with me on other stuff, you can talk now. I have time. I am off.